So Brittney Griner, star WNBA player, as oxymoronic as that sounds, uh, and star WNBA player, just got sentenced in Russia to 9 years in prison for having a vape pen that had a marijuana cannabis solution in it, whatever you call it. I don't know what you call what you put into a vape pen. The vape, I don't know. Anyway, so she got sentenced to 9 years in prison. This just went down, and a couple of people have left comments on some of my videos asking me, what are my thoughts on this, and I guess me as an anti-Russia, anti-WNBA guy for, you don't know those reasons and you haven't been watching any of my videos. So anyway, look, I look at things like this. First off, getting sentenced in this world 9 years in prison for something as petty as marijuana, especially in a country where the alcohol consumption is sky high compared to most other parts of the world, is ridiculous. It's beyond absurd. Like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, drugs are illegal and drugs are bad and all that. Like if we're gonna have something legal like alcohol, how can weed be treated as if it's something worse or treated differently? I mean, if anything, it should be treated more positively different than negatively different. That's just where I stand on it. But I'm saying that because I want you to know my stance on where I stand on weed. I have no problem with it being legal. I have no problem if anyone coming up to me saying they do weed or they're going home tonight to smoke weed, do a vape, whatever. It changes your opinion of me zero. Anyway, or it changes my opinion of you zero. Why would it change your opinion of me? Okay, wait. Misspoke there. Shut up! Anyway. I look at this more from a stupidity standpoint, and I'm not going to be looking at this against it just because I'm someone who doesn't like the WNBA and thinks their product is boring and thinks it's pathetic that they've existed for 25 years and siphoned money out of the actual NBA to make their league exist. Like, all that aside, I look at this as a stupidity standpoint. Brittney Griner has played a number of seasons during the WNBA offseason abroad in Europe, in Russia, in China, etc. I think she played in China. Anyway, I might be mistaken there. But I know she's played more than one season of a professional level ball in Russia. So this isn't like just like, oh, I packed my marijuana vape pen. Oops, my bad. Like, no, you've traveled abroad enough that you know that something like this is a no-no. And I remember when this first happened, back when I used to look on Twitter and see people leaving comments. So many people are saying, like, because this was shortly after the Ukraine-Russia war broke out, that they're looking for a reason to get back at America for supplying arms to Ukraine, and this is one of the reasons. This is one of the things they're doing. They set up this girl. They set her up. They planted that vape pen in there. Woo-hoo-hoo, they got us back good, didn't they, America? But okay, here's the whole thing. Number one, Brittney Griner is a very polarizing person. She's very anti-police, etc. So she's drawn a division in where the people stand on the side of her just from that stance alone. But on top of that, if they're seriously going to plant something on her person, on her luggage in Russia, why don't they just go for the gusto and put like heroin in her luggage or something like that? Like they set her up with a vape pen with cannabis oil in it. Like, that's what they used to set her up with. Like, they didn't just say put like a big tie, like twist tied bag of heroin in her luggage. They could have done that. They could have like doped her food so she tested positive for heroin or something. Like something a lot more catastrophic looking than having a vape pen. And I hear all the outrage about this. Like, this is ridiculous. Russia's throwing the book at her for this. Like, no, Russia throws the book at anyone, including their own citizens, that violates the laws for prohibited drugs. Like, that's just, it's just the truth of the matter. This has nothing to do with the fact that she's an American or whatever. A 9-year sentence for a weed violation is commonplace in Russia. Sorry, but that's what it is. You think Russia is going to turn their back just because they found a Russian in the airport with marijuana? No. I know someone's going to find, oh, there's this one case where this one oligarch's son slid by and whatever. Like, okay, maybe some wealthy and powerful slide by. But my point is that Brittney Griner should have known better to even be in this circumstance to begin with. Now, do I think it's a bit harsh to get 9 years for doing something incredibly stupid? 9 years in a Russian jail for being stupid? Yeah, I think that's a little harsh. But again, like that we should have to work a deal to get her out of this. Like, I'm not exactly, I'm not exactly going like, oh, America should try harder to try and work a deal to get this girl back home. And people saying like, well, she's anti-America, she's anti-police, whatever. And during all the George Floyd stuff, she's, tweeting anti-American, anti-police stance stuff. And I don't care what your stance is. You're still afforded all the liberties and options that this nation can provide you. Whether or not you support this nation or not, you still deserve to have every single facet of this nation stand up for you. The police, I have no problem. The police come to defend her, even if she's anti-police. Anyway, I wish we lived in a world where something like and again, that is the whole hypocritical thing of this, hypocritical, whatever. I misspoke again. Shut up. The whole hypocrisy of Russia being a country where the average age of the man is decreased compared to the women so precipitously because the number of people that drink themselves to death is sky high in the country. Like, drink yourself to death, smoke weed, get your ass in jail. You'll deserve to live with the rest of us. Again, weed is something that I see should be treated more positively. It should be regulated and whatnot. Like, you can't just have people selling to kids in school. Like, don't think I'm for that. It should be something that you should be. I have no problem with being like with alcohol treated as like a 21 or older to purchase, consume, etc. I have no problem if a company wants to regulate it and say you can't smoke weed, you can't test positive for weed if you're going to be employed here. I get all that. That's fine. And I like always with weed and sports and like with the Deshaun Watson getting suspended 6 games, for the number of things he's accused of, and you hear, this guy batters his wife, this one beat his kid, etc. And they all get 4 to 6 game suspensions. Yeah, Josh Gordon's been suspended for 25 plus games now for just smoking weed. And I get that, but here's the thing. It's a black and white rule of the league. It's crystal clear. There is no, just don't smoke weed. Just don't smoke weed. Do I agree that hitting a woman, your spouse, your child is way worse? Assaulting them is way worse than smoking weed? Yes, of course I do. But man, just avoid smoking weed. How hard is that to do? Again, how hard is it to not assault your wife or child? I hear you. But man, if I sign up to a job that's paying me millions of dollars and they said don't wear a maroon colored shirt in public or else you're going to get fined. Okay, that's completely ridiculous, but fine. Okay, I'll no longer wear maroon colored shirts in public. If that's a rule of the league, as ridiculous as it is, okay, fine, I won't do it. I just got an email. I just got suspended from my job for 6 weeks because they saw this, even though it didn't go live. Anyway, stick to the videos, not comedy, Archfiend. Anyway, I get how asinine the punishment for weed is in this country, in the world, abroad, etc. But You can't be stupid about it. Again, Josh Gordon smoking weed when he knows it is against the league's policy and you will get suspended if you get piss tested for it. And guess what? You're getting piss tested every season no matter what. Why take the chance? That's what makes it so much dumber than assaulting your wife or child, in my opinion. Because it's like the league isn't going to be like, well, let's review the footage from your house to make sure you didn't assault anyone in the last few months. Like, that stuff's done behind closed doors. A piss test is a piss test. You have to take a piss test. And when you get caught pissing hot, you're the fault of that. So that's why I see something as like smoking weed and people saying like, oh, it's BS that the guy that beat his wife only got a 6-game suspension and Josh Gordon got suspended almost 2 full seasons of football for smoking weed. Because one is stupider than the other. One is considerably stupider than the other. Like, there's no piss test for if you assaulted your wife. There's a piss test for smoking weed, and you have to take that every season, multiple times. And Brittney Griner knows her luggage is going to be checked, especially when you're going to Russia. She knows the rules. All these players are even briefed on the rules in case you get completely bag of hammered in the brain and forget. Anyway, Brittney Griner's sentence of 9 years in jail is ridiculous. But her bringing any sort of drug paraphernalia is even beyond ridiculous when you should know better. Bloody hell. Anyway, yeah, I don't feel that sorry for the Brittney Griners and Josh Gordons of the world because they should know better. They're in circumstances where it's your fault. You gotta know better. What's with you? What were they thinking, as some nerd would say? Anyways, Brittney Griner has a lot to say about America. Let us know how things are like in Russia. Maybe you'll want to stay there after you get out of jail. I don't know. Anyways, some would say that this is just karma biting her in the ass. And it's me, someone who doesn't, believe in karma. You see moments like this and go, okay, I see why some people believe in karma. But anyway, oh my gosh, Brittney, what were you thinking? Where's the leave Brittney alone guy? Can he come out of the woodwork again and say, set Brittney free? Can he try for her? Obviously he doesn't even probably know who Brittney Griner is because the majority of the world doesn't know, despite her being a WNBA superstar. Sorry, my eyes almost inverted there from how far they rolled back. Anyway, I wonder how many times I said that in this video. That's like my verbal crutch that I fall back on for those of you. Leave a comment below with how many times I said anyway in this video. So, those of you that have been keeping count, anyway, how many times did I officially say it there? Oh, your counts are thrown off now. So what do you guys think? Did Brittney Griner deserve to get any time for at least being stupid and taking a vape pen with marijuana oil in it, cannabis oil, whatever you want to call it? Anyways, how much time did I talk to you? 14 minutes? Jesus, that's enough. I gotta go. That is all.